optimistically call it the future of learning. I really should have called it a future of learning and not the future of learning. And it's a long story really. It goes back almost 11 years now, and its origins are actually even older than that. I start with this sentence, that everywhere on earth there are places where for various reasons good teachers don't want to go or good teachers cannot go. So I started with that as in the developing country context. But then, several years later, what I realized was that if you imagine to yourself the map of a country that you live in, and if you're an educator, you can usually point to places and say, good teachers can't go there, or good teachers won't go there, or good schools can't be built. So the question is, what do we do with the children there? And as you know, in this country, we have that problem in various forms. There are socio-economic reasons why there are places where good teachers won't go. And there are geographic reasons, like up there in Scotland, for example, the density of children is not good enough for you to build a school. So then you have to sort of club all the children together, make them travel 30 miles and go to the nearest school. So we do have a problem. And that problem is everywhere. But the origins of the work started in India about 11 years ago. And at that time, the problem that I was trying to address was how would poor children get to understand or work with computers? Because and it was a problem because the urban elite children of, for example, Delhi, where this experiment was done, were becoming computer literate very quickly because they had access to computers and teachers, but other children were not. And you couldn't get a computer teacher to go into a slum and teach computers. It was possible. In fact, if you think about it, there is another interesting side issue here. You cannot, in principle, have a good computer teacher at the primary level. Because if somebody is good with computers, they're very unlikely, except for those few who are sort of dedicated teachers, they're very unlikely to work in the teaching profession because they make a lot more money doing something else. So you can't actually have a really good computer teacher, a person who knows computers very well. So back in 1999, what I tried to do was, I thought, why not see what would happen if we take a computer and just put it somewhere in a slum and see what children would do with it. So you just confront them with an artifact and see what happens. The first problem I had was, where do you put the computer in the slum? And in fact, where do you put a computer outdoors, anywhere? Imagine this computer here. If I were to take a table, put it on the table and take it out there outside this building and put it on the pavement, how long do you think it will function? What, 10, 15 minutes? So, and it's not only theft, there is yet another reason, which is that the weather will vary. 2 drops of water on the keyboard is all that it takes to destroy the computer. So they are not designed to work outdoors at all. So so in the slum where I wanted to put this computer, I finally found a little stretch of wall and made a rectangular opening in it. Then I put a glass pane against that opening. I took a computer and sort of pushed its monitor into that opening in the wall from the other side. So now from the slum side of the wall, you could see a little blue rectangle, which was the monitor of the computer. I put the computer itself behind the wall, put the touchpad, as you can see, also into the wall, and then bricked up the back so that the computer wasn't really accessible. So in a way, it was like a large ATM machine, about 3 feet off the ground. And then I just left it there and asked a colleague of mine to just walk around and and see what would happen. I mean, in those days the assumption was that they would, seal it or break it, ship with a brick and that sort of thing. This is what he got back after about 8 hours. That's the structure that eventually got called the hole in the wall. On your right is an 8-year-old boy. He's the son of the local tobacco seller. His father sells cigarettes. On his left is his student, 6-year-old girl. And what he was doing was quite interesting. He wasn't actually breaking the computer, stealing it, or doing any such wicked thing. He was only teaching her how to browse. So, which in 1999 was completely non-intuitive, because he's not seen a computer before. He doesn't know what the internet is. His knowledge of English is probably either zero or completely minimal. He hardly goes to school. So what was happening here? And we thought of a very simple, plausible answer, which is that a young man or woman passing by may have stopped and shown them how to use the mouse. And that particular area, as you saw, NIIT, which is a big computer education company, just behind the wall. So there are literally thousands of educated young men and women who know everything about computers. So they said, well, that's what it is. And I said, well, that's kind of nice that you can get somebody to act as a teacher for a few minutes, and teach them. But is that what happened? So I said, well, I really need to know what would happen if I put it in a place where there's absolutely nobody who can tell them anything. Will they lose interest? Will they? What exactly would happen? So I repeated the experiment, this time in a North Indian village called MoodleMoot, really remote place up in northeastern India. And I put the computer in a local school where they didn't have an English teacher, so the children didn't know any English. And they didn't have an English teacher for the reasons that I said earlier. No English teacher wanted to go and live there. It's an animal rearing kind of community. The adults showed no interest and walked off. The women kept an eye on the children. I came back after. Well, I'll translate for you in a moment. So, what they were saying, when I went back after 3 months, I found this 10-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl, and they were playing a game on the computer. And what they were saying as soon as they saw me was, we want a faster processor and a better mouse. So,